If you've been to the grocery store lately, you might have noticed that food packaging is starting to look a little bit different. While new Health Canada regulations meant to help consumers make healthier choices are starting to hit store shelves, highlighting potential health risks that come along with certain foods. To share more about what these changes mean, I'm joined by Sylvain Charlebois, director of Dalhousie University's Agri-Foods Lab. Hello, Sylvain. Thanks so much for being with us.
Good afternoon.
So while folks may only be starting to notice these labels now, it's not exactly a new directive from Health Canada. Tell us when it started and what all it entails.
Well, I think we've started to see these labels perhaps 3-4 months ago at the grocery store, and so it will be in force as of January 1st, 2026. The industry was given 2 years to adjust and adapt, and of course, the 2 years were given in order for companies to reformulate, essentially. The whole idea is to actually get companies to reduce the amount of sodium, sugar, or fat being used in food processing in general. And many companies have actually done that, but now we're seeing labels out there. And if you do see a label, it means that that product actually has either too much sodium, sugar, or fat, 15% or more of the daily recommended consumption level that you should ingest.
Am I right that it's moving these labels from the back to the front of the packaging? Is this all new? Is this kind of the crux of it?
No, actually, these labels are pretty new. I mean, you do have the nutritional labels telling you exactly what's in the product. But the front of package labeling really allows the consumer to fully understand within seconds if a product has too much sugar, sodium, or fat. So these labels are actually new. They're not super big. They're somewhat small, but they're actually in front of the package, and they're black and white. So they're hard to miss, but you still have to know what you're looking for.
And Sylvain, have these changes been embraced by food companies? How are they feeling about these new guidelines?
Well, a few years ago, there was some resistance, but I think the value here with this policy is that it creates a level playing field. A few years back, we've seen companies reducing sodium, sugar, or fat, not knowing that the competition would not do the same. So it basically made their product even tastier, and they lost sales, so they always went back to the old formula. But this time around, it creates a level playing field for everyone, and so we are expecting the entire industry to follow along and make adjustments as a result. So in the end, we are expecting consumers to have access to healthier products overall, and these are the results that we've seen in other countries where such a policy was implemented, like in Europe, for example. In Brazil, where I was last week, you could see that they are benefits for consumers.
And that was kind of my next question here. Maybe it elevates our awareness about the content of our food. Do you think it'll actually lead to different choices made by the consumer overall, or should more be done? Does this go far enough?
Actually, that's unclear. So first of all, you need to look for these labels. Will the consumer be impacted? Will the consumer be influenced by these labels? Probably. And of course, I would say that the industry, most companies wouldn't want a label like that on their own package. So that tells you something. But over time, will consumers still see those labels after a few years? It's hard to say at this point, which is why I think the biggest improvement, I think, for this particular policy is to force industry to reformulate and change the product and how they're made to reduce these ingredients. And the other big question mark that a lot of people have in their minds is, well, okay, so we're reducing sodium, sugar, or fat, but are we replacing these ingredients with something that is equally as harmful? So we don't know exactly how these products will be seen, or what the health value of these products will be. That's something else that we're all wondering about.
All right, interesting stuff. Well, we will leave it there, Sylvain. Thanks so much for your time and for your insights.
All right, take care.
You too.